Okay, so I have the pattern for this hat on my Facebook. If you haven't seen it, then I'm going to go ahead and make another tutorial, and this will be for YouTube. You asked for a skull hat, and I went to Walmart the other day and saw a skull on the back of a dog coat in the pet aisle, and this skull is inspired by the one I saw on there. So it has the jawbone, which that was what I was aiming for on that. And we're gonna go ahead and get started on learning this one. Now for the brim, it needs to be in multiples of 8. I did 80 on mine, and you can make any kind of brim you want. This one I just did half doubles all the way around. I'm going to go back in after I'm done with it and make a brim from the other way. So it'll be like that while I work on it. I haven't decided what I want to do yet. But this is going to teach you how to make this hat. But I'm going to do the ending differently. If you want to see the ending for this one, like that. If you want to see the ending for this, that's on my Facebook page. Now, what I'm going to show you from here is the same pattern you're going to use at the beginning. So after you make your multiples of 8 and slip stitch it together, then you're going to start from there. You're going to chain up 4, then you're going to put a double crochet into that same stitch that you chained up from. So from that slip stitch, you're going to put a double crochet into it. Then you're going to do a double crochet into the next 3 stitches. Then you're going to chain 4, and you're going to come down and slip stitch into the same stitch as your 4th double crochet. So that's going to bring this jawline curving towards the bottom of the teeth area. Now you're going to slip over 5 stitches. 1 slip, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now when you get into your other rows, then you're going to see that your slip stitch is going to end right between the skulls of the previous round. Okay. And then you're going to chain up 4 and repeat the same pattern until you get to your beginning. Okay, I ended that round and slipped over to my first one, and now from here I'm going to slip into that chain space, but I'm going to do it loosely. I'm not going to pull, kind of tug it down. I'm going to do it loosely, and then I'm going to loosely chain 1, so it's almost a slip stitch in the other direction. And I'm doing that to bring myself up to the top without making this part too thick. Okay, now I'm going to put a single crochet into that space. And at this point, just to make it easier when I come back around, I'm going to mark that first single crochet. Now I'm going to put a second single crochet into the same space. And then I'm going to put a single crochet into this space right here, this stitch at the top of that first double crochet. Now I'm going to chain 2, then come over to the fourth double crochet and put a single on that one. And then I'm going to come over and put 2 single crochets into this chain space. It's 1 and 2. Now I'm going to chain 2 and go to the next one and do the same thing. So it's 1, 2, and 3. Chain 2, and then 1, 2, 3, chain 2. And I'm going to continue that pattern all the way around. Okay, coming back around, got my last chain 2. And I just go into where my marker is, into that first single crochet and slip stitch into there. Take my marker out. And now I'm going to chain up 5, and then double crochet into that chain 2 space, chain up 5 again, and then I'm going to come to this last single crochet on that round and single crochet into that one. Okay, now I'm going to put 2 single crochets around the chain 2 space, and then at this point I'm going to instead of going into this first stitch from this first single crochet, I'm going to skip that one and go into the next one. So that middle single crochet there, I'm going to put a single crochet into that one. And there's 2 reasons for that. One, you want to kind of pull, kind of tug this cheekbone over so that it makes the jawline a little more pronounced, a little more identifiable. And also when you chain up for your eye, it's not going to push the eye too far outside of where the jawbone is, because you want that nice kind of line right there. So now that I've put that single crochet into there, I can chain up 5 and repeat my pattern of a double crochet into the chain 2 space, chain up 5, and then single crochet into the third single crochet from the previous round, and then 2 singles around the chain 2, and then skip that first single crochet and go into the second one. I'm going to do that all the way around until I finish off with my 2 single crochets over here. Okay, now I can put my 2 single crochets around that chain 2, and that brings me up to my first skull, and from here I'm going to slip stitch down into that space right there, and then slip stitch into the eye. Okay, so I slip stitched into that eye area, and now I'm going to do 1 single crochet in it, and then 5 half doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now into the other eye with the mirror image of that, so it's 5 half doubles, a single, and a slip. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, then a single and a slip. And the reason for the slip stitch is just to try and keep a tighter corner for it so that it doesn't curve going into the other skull. Just trying to keep that corner a little more distinct. Okay, now from that slip stitch you're going to slip stitch into that first single that went across the chain, and then into the next, and then from here I like to go down to where you see this eye comes down and goes into this stitch right here. I like to slip stitch into that before I go into the eye. Now slip stitch up into the eye. I'll tug that down a little bit and then do another single, 5 half doubles, and then over to the other side with 5 half doubles, a single, and a slip. And you do that pattern all the way around until you come back to your first skull. Now that I'm done with that, I slipped over to my first skull, and I'm right under where the eye comes up, and I'm going to slip up to, there's that slip stitch I did. I'm going to slip into that one. Then I'm going to slip up to that single crochet, and then slip up a third time into that first half double. Then I'm going to chain 1, and into the next stitch I'm going to put my first of 8 half doubles. I'm going to put that one there, and I'm going to go ahead and stick my stitch marker into that one. And then I'm going to put 7 more half doubles across the top of that skull, so it'll be 8 total. 2, 3, 4, 5,
When you're going to be going next door, do me a favor and remember to put the garbage.
6, 7, 8, and then I'm going to come over to my next skull, and if you need to count, then you go, this one belongs on that side, so it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that's where you start your half doubles on that skull, going straight from the first one. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the more you do this, the easier it is to just go over, and don't really have to look for it. You just kind of know where it is. And then you just do that same thing all the way around, and that keeps you with your multiples of 8. And to make the next row, you just, after you slip stitch into your starter right there, you just chain up the 4 and start the pattern over. You can see these skulls kind of curve to the side. Each jawline is on half of the skull before it. And I'm going to come back around, and I keep it at 3 lines, 3 rows of skulls fits fine for me, so I'm going to keep it at that. And I'm going to do a basic decrease. Okay, and doing the basic decrease is really easy. If you've seen the description boxes of some of my other videos, then I have a link to where I first started doing beanies, and the decrease is the same as the increase, except instead of doing 2 in the same stitch, then you'll be stitching 2 together. And I'm doing the half doubles, and since I have it in multiples of 8, then I'll be decreasing in multiples of 8. So since you do 2 together, then I'll have the first 6 as half doubles, and then I'll do stitches 7 and 8 together. So chain up 2, and that's my first. Then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll be doing 7 and 8 together, so that's going in to 7, and then slipping into 8 and pulling up a loop, yarning over and pulling through everything on there. And I got those 2 together, so now I could do 6 more half doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 and 8. And I'm going to continue that all the way around. Alright, I finished my row of 6 half doubles and a decrease, and now I'm going to slip stitch into that top of the chain 2 that I had made on that first one. If my yarn would let me. Go. Now sometimes getting into the chains can be a little bit of hassle. Okay, and now I'm going to chain up 2 again and do the next line of decrease, which will be 5 half doubles and a decrease. So that chain is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the decrease. And I'll do that pattern all the way around. So I managed to slip stitch into that top of my chain 2 without much of a fuss, and now I'm going to have 4 half doubles and the decrease. So that's a chain up 2, that's my first one. Into my second, 2, 3, 4, decrease, and that's my pattern for this row all the way around. Now that that one's done, my next row is 3 half doubles and a decrease. That's 1. I didn't quite get that stitch. 2, 3, and decrease. That's my pattern all the way around. Now that that one's done, my next row is going to be 2 half doubles and a decrease. That's 1, 2, decrease, and that's my pattern all the way around. Alright, now that that's done, then my next row is going to be 1 half double and then the decrease. So that chain up is 1, and then the decrease. Okay, that's 1, decrease. I'll finish that off all the way around. Okay, now on to my next round. I'm going to crochet 2 together all the way around. So what I like to do for the starter, since you can't chain up and then put 2 together, otherwise you'll end up with 1 extra stitch at the end. Then I like to chain 1 and then go into the next stitch, pull up a loop and pull through. If you want, then let's see, yarn over before you go into that second stitch, pull up a loop and pull through. And then, just to make things a little easier, I'm going to put my marker on that stitch, and then just go ahead and crochet 2 together all the way around. That's my second double up. My third. And since I had 80 and I'm decreasing by 8, then I'll have 10 altogether. So that was 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. Oops, and I just pulled my marker out. Oh well. And 10. Okay. Now, if I could find my mark. I think it was this one here. Oh, I always count back. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So this one. Slip stitch into that. And then for closing up this hole, I like to go around and basically double crochet everything together. So I'm going to chain up 2, yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, go into the next, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, and I think I'll do, let's see, probably 4. So 1, 2, 3. Or you know what, I think I'll do 5 of them, since there's 10 stitches left. I mean, you could go all the way around if you have the patience to kind of pull everything together like that. I'm going to go ahead and yarn over and draw through everything on my loop, on my hook at this point. And then go ahead and do that with the last 5 stitches. Do the same thing. Yarn over, go into that next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, go into the next, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, That's 2 of them. That's 3. And you can see how it's starting to tighten up a lot now. That's 4. And 1 more to go. If I can make it. Almost got it. There we go. Draw through 2, and then yarn over and draw through everything. Okay. And now I'm going to go ahead and yarn over and pull up that, and I'm going to cut off a tail. So grab my yarning needle. I'm going to pull that all the way through. Right. Let's see what we have. Okay. Now I'm going to go through pull this in. Close that off. And discreetly knot it. Okay, towards the back there. Go ahead and push it through. So we can fold it inside out. Give that a tug. Then go ahead and hide your tail however you want.